Good morning, everyone. My name is Jock. I'm a pre-sales engineer for Hikvision. I'll be your presenter for today. So yes, Eben is not available today, so he asked me to just stand in for him. So today's webinar would be about our Soho product range. Soho standing for small office and home office applications. So that's basically what it's for. So it's our, let's call it entry-level type of devices. You'll see on the switches, for example. We're not going to go through all our range of switches, and it's basically our products more related to our small office and home office applications, especially with a lot of people working from home these days. These type of devices comes in very, very handy from a Hikvision perspective. All right, so let's get going. Thank you all for joining. I hope it will be very informative for you guys. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask it in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and then we can maybe just handle those questions afterwards. So yeah, thanks for joining. Let's carry on. Okay, so the products we're going to look at would be our webcams, our video conference devices, some of our monitors, wireless routers, and then the switches, as I mentioned, all related to our small office and home office applications. So the first part would be our webcam and video conference. Webcam, as in we're going to look at the product family, the comparison chart, which is quite a nice little chart where you can see all of the devices next to each other and compare them. Also our new mini all-in-one webcam. And then on the video conference products, we've got the speakerphone, the S1V, as well as the S1. And we'll go into more details on all of these in the coming slides, as well as then our all-in-one pillar called our X12. Okay, so the webcam family, you can see we've divided them into three options, or three series, if you want to call it that: the value series, the business series, as well as the live series. And then on the left-hand side, you can actually see that we've got them in a full HD or a 1080p video resolution, also in 2K as well as 4K resolution. So any of those options are then available, as you can see, for all of the different series that we have. You can see the model codes there, the different shapes and sizes depending on where you want to use these specific webcams. Okay, the comparison chart, you can see there once again the value series marked in green, business series in blue, and then the live series, the red part. So a very nice illustration of the specific applications or features that our different webcams actually provide. So you can see at the top with the model code, the megapixel or the resolution of it, whether it's 2K or 4K resolution. You can see the live series as well as the business series all support up to 4K resolution, which is quite a nice little picture. Obviously 4K compares to 8 megapixel if you convert it to megapixel resolution. Then you can see the autofocus, business series and live series, all of them support the autofocus, whereas the value series, only the U02 and the U04 support the autofocus function. Portrait enhancement, once again, the business series and live series will support that. So you can have a nice little look here to see which devices will actually work for you depending on your specific application. As well as the field of view. All of them are quite wide. You can actually see anything from 80-degree angle up to, I think the maximum is 87 degrees angle in the live series. So quite a nice wide angled view, typically perfect for webcam, which is obviously a short distance type of pickup. The angle adjustment that you can adjust, the audio in, you can see the value series 1 built-in microphone, whereas the business and the live series actually supports up to 2 built-in microphones. So it gives you a more stereo type of effect. Then we've got the cable lengths, anything from 1.5 meters up to 2 meters on our business and live series of devices. That's obviously the USB cable end. So just keep that in mind if you want to use it for those purposes. The video output, USB 2, some of them USB 3, just for added speed, especially for the 4K. You can see the 4K devices needing that faster USB speed for the higher video resolution. Then the housing material, most of them are plastic, but we have the metal in the business series. Okay, so just a little bit of a more sleek type of look for the business series, and obviously we've added the metal for those. And then just the packing list at the bottom. I'm not going to go through all of those, but just a nice little chart, I think, if you are looking at webcams, and you can see the differences between all of them and the main features of them. Then we've got the mini all-in-one webcam, so the UA12 and the UA14. Good example of what it looks like on the right-hand side with the speaker built in, the microphone built in, the nice little white light that comes on if the webcam is on. So a nice little look and feel for at this specific device. So it comes in two options, the 1080p resolution, as well as in the 2K. 2K is similar to a 4 megapixel type of resolution. Built-in speaker, also with the echo suppression, so you don't need additional speakers. It actually has the built-in speaker, so it just makes it much easier once again with the all-in-one device. Built-in mic with noise reduction, wide angle, like we saw in the previous slide, with anything between 80 and 87 degree angle. USB 3 as optional. Then the plug and play part, and then the 1.5 meter length cable. So those are the main features of this specific device. Then we look at the family for video conferencing. So the video conferencing, once again, divided into two basic family groups, small and medium-sized conference rooms. So typically where up to 8 people would sit around a boardroom table. And then we've got the medium to large size conference rooms. So those are the two groups that we've put them into. And obviously the large one is up to 16 people then around a boardroom. So you can obviously see that it's for larger applications. So then we've got the video and audio conference, and then the only audio conference. So depending on what you need inside the boardroom, obviously, if you want to have a two-way audio communication, you need the video and audio conference unit. But maybe in some cases, you might have a microphone already in place. Then you can maybe just use the audio conference part, just the speakerphone, as you can see at the bottom. So it all depends on what your requirements are once again. So you can see the all-in-one portable conference camera, the X12. We'll look into a little bit more detail on its features. But quite a nice little unit with the built-in microphone, as well as the speakers that'll give you good quality audio. And then we've got the speakerphone on the right-hand side, the S1, which is our new model. And that covers for the larger conferences. You can actually see there. So once again, a 360-degree audible, as well as microphone built into the unit. And that also has Bluetooth connection. So it's a wireless device with a built-in battery. So very nice little unit, the SoundCube S1. And then also the PDZ camera. So the U102, a webcam that'll be able to then obviously focus on a specific person when he's talking, etc. So we have those. Okay, so SoundCube. So let's look at the SoundCube in a little bit more detail. This is our speakerphone for conferences. So here's a nice little video. So let me just play the video for you. You'll get a good indication of what this nice little speaker can actually offer you. Just see if the audio is actually on. There's only one, guys. Sorry about this. I think my audio is off. I hope you guys can actually hear the audio. If not, we will obviously share that with you guys. Okay, so as you guys can see, a very, very nice little speaker unit with a built-in battery for up to 10 hours with the Bluetooth wireless, 360-degree audio. So very, very nice little unit. So let's look at some of the key features of that specific device. So as I mentioned, 360-degree voice pickup, as well as the sound amplification. So it means that the microphone picks up 360 degrees, as well as the speakers are designed for 360-degree audio. So 8 microphones, omnidirectional at the top, 5-meter sound pickup. So from a microphone perspective, up to 5 meters, which is quite large. 5 meters might not sound a lot, but I think if you look at a boardroom, most of them would not even be more than 5 or 8 meters. As you can see, the 8 meters is for the sound amplification, which is the speaker part. So this is typically for a larger boardroom with up to 16 participants, and then a 25 square meter coverage, which, as I mentioned, is quite large for a boardroom. Innovative design, so you can see compared with conventional speakerphones or typical speakerphones that you'll get in the market. If you compare that with our Hikvision speakerphone, conventional ones will have the speaker usually at the top, so the sound actually travels to the top, with microphones on the side but at the bottom. So it's got a limited pickup distance, usually from 2 to 3 meters. Whereas if you look at our speaker, the S1, it's got the microphones at the top. So upward microphones obviously makes it a lot easier for the microphones to detect a person speaking. And then we've got the speakers at the bottom, once again, 360 degrees in all directions, and we've got that at the bottom. So our typical pickup distance would be 5 meters for if a person speaks. And then the speakers, as I mentioned, up to 8 meters, you'll be able to hear clearly if a person talks on the other side. AI noise reduction, so intelligently filters out the background noise, which is vitally important. You can see typical examples at the bottom. If someone is knocking on the table, keyboard tapping, so if someone's typing, making meeting notes, those type of things, the air conditioning in the background, those things obviously can distort the audible quite a bit. So the AI noise reduction built into our speakers enhances that functionality, so you don't have all of those background noises coming into the speakers, for example, or into the microphone, sorry. So we've got also the echo suppression, as well as the anti-reverberation. So you can see the echo suppression on the left-hand side, so it doesn't pick up the microphone and the speaker, so the audio that comes out of the speaker, it doesn't go back into the microphone. So you don't have those echo problems that some conference devices might have. And then also the anti-reverberation, which is vitally important once again. So you don't have, if sound comes out of the microphone, or even if a person talks, the sound might travel and bounce off of other hard surfaces, and then you've got almost like a echo or delayed type of audible once again on the device. So we've got that built in as well, the anti-reverberation part. Easy to adjust the volume or mute the microphone, as you saw in the video. Quick to mute the microphone, so just by clicking on the mic mute button, volume up and down, very simple. And then on the S1 model, which is our wireless model, you also have the answering and end call button, which is nice and touchscreen, as you saw in the video. Very sleek design and very nice to handle. Then we've got the multiple connections available, so USB adapter for laptops and desktops. So this is obviously for the S1, which is a wireless device. So if you want to add this as a wireless device, you've got this USB adapter that obviously gives it a Bluetooth connection then to the laptop. So that's if the laptop doesn't have a Bluetooth built in. So you've got this adapter with the unit. Another option is just to connect via Bluetooth, and that could be to your phone, your tablets, your laptops, whatever device has got Bluetooth available. So that's once again for the S1. And you can see on the S1 and the S1V, the V being the cabled connection, which is a Type-C USB cable. And that's once again very simple to use. So there's just a plug and play. There's no drivers or plugins that you need to install. Very, very simple to use as a through the USB cable. And that'll obviously power the device as well. Then you can see the nice little carry case that it comes with. And also, as I mentioned, the S1 device will have a 3,800 milliamp hour battery built in, and that gives you roughly a 10-hour plus talk time or use time. So very, very nice. And that's once again through Bluetooth wireless. The wide compatibility part. So you can see the operating systems that the specific devices are actually working on. So it'll be Windows, as you can see, from XP 7, 8, 10, and 11. Android, anything from 8.1 and newer. Linux as well, Mac OS, Chrome OS. But you can see the side note there. For detailed information, please check the data sheet. So there might be other operating systems we will be able to support as well. So just keep that in mind. And then the typical software applications. This is typically what people will use for small office or home applications. So the Zoom, the WebExes, the Skype, the YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc. So many software applications that will actually work with our speakerphones or our conference devices. And then the typical application scenarios where you will use it, quite self-explanatory. You can see there on the right-hand side, small office or home office applications. So you can use that for conference meetings. Online education, you can use it for that as well. Once again, because it's got the speaker and the microphone, everything built in. So a typical design for that. And then your remote conference areas where you've got people around the boardroom. Multiple people might have to talk, and all of them can actually then hear at the same time. So you've got clear, audible in the center of the boardroom table, make it a typical product to use for those applications. Then the product showcase, just a quick comparison once again between the S1V, which is the wired model, and then the S1, which is the wireless model. So you can see the audio part, 5-meter pickup distance, 8-meter sound with the speakers, with the amplification. With both of them will have the AI noise reduction, as well as the echo suppression and the anti-reverberation, as I mentioned in the previous slide. So both of them will have all of those. The microphone mute, the volume up and down, all of them will have, both of them will have that. But then obviously the answer and the end call, as you saw in the previous slides, is only on the wireless model. Then you've got the wired connection for both of them with the USB cable. So depending on if your battery is flat on the wireless model, you can still use the USB cable. So it then gets power through the USB cable and it's on, and you can work through the USB cable. But optional, obviously, an added advantage with the wireless model would be then that it supports Bluetooth as well. So that's why it's wireless. Up to 10 hours of battery life on a single charge. And then you can just see the accessories there at the bottom as well. Okay, then we've got the all-in-one Pillar X12. Like we mentioned, this is a new model that'll be coming soon. So it's an all-in-one portable design. So it's got a 2-megapixel camera with 120-degree viewing angle. The microphone, 360-degree voice pickup, and up to 5-meter long distance. So this is typically for your smaller to medium boardroom size. Also then the speaker, you've got the echo suppression as well as the anti-reverberation part built into the speaker. So same as the previous S1 and S1V units with 8-meter sound amplification. So the speaker is still quite a strong speaker for typical boardroom applications. It's got the AI noise reduction built in with our AI technology. plug and play once again, so very, very simple and easy to use through the USB interface, and it also supports then the Bluetooth remote control to make it a wireless device. Okay, when we look at the second part, which is our monitors, once again, as I mentioned in the beginning, these monitors are more for small office or home office applications. So we obviously have other monitors available through the Hikvision system, but we're focusing here more on the small and home office applications. So we're going to look at specific monitors as well as the IPS monitors. So it's designed for small offices. So main feature, or a very important feature, is our narrow bezel. So you can actually see there on the screen a 1.9 millimeter narrow bezel, meaning if you have multiple monitors in front of you, which most people, especially working from home, would prefer, you just get more done. You can see more spreadsheets, etc. So once again, our monitors will just add that sleek design to it, and you don't have those massive bezels in between. So you actually have, it almost looks like one white screen, a monitor. So then we've got the true to life display. So you can just see the high quality that we have on our monitors. Even though it's the smaller monitors, still very, very high picture quality. 178-degree angle of view. So even if you view it from the side, you can still see everything that is going on our displays. Okay, so looking at specific monitors or the sizes thereof, so you can see the model codes there, 21.5-inch monitor as an option, 23.8-inch, and then also a 27-inch, which is obviously the largest that we are covering in this specific webinar. So once again, the key features there, as we explained, the narrow bezel, true to life display, the wide viewing angle, multiple interface options. So we have it available for VGA as well as HDMI, and then your standard Visa mount at the back if you want to wall mount it, for example. Then we also have our IPS monitors. So this is obviously our true and accurate color, so much higher picture quality that we have available, and they are in two options, 23.8-inch or then the 27-inch, which is quite a nice little large monitor for putting down on a desktop or an office bench. Once again, the super narrow bezel, so it gives you a slim body design, true to life display, full HD, 1080p, and once again, it supports VGA as well as HDMI connections. Okay, then we look at the wireless routers. So we're going to look at the product family as well as the just the introduction on our parameters. Okay, so the Wi-Fi 5 and the Wi-Fi 4, those are the two family groups that we've put them into. So you can actually see the distance, 1,200 meters, and then the 300-meter options available. Okay, so dual bandwidth, and this is probably one of the biggest features of our wireless routers, and that is the fact that we can use both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz into a single SSID. So it means that the router can actually use both of those, where many of the routers out in the field these days will maybe give you 2.4 and 5 as an option. So you actually have to use a specific one. So if you use 2.4 on the common routers out in the field, then you can't use 5. Whereas with the Hikvision routers, and you can see the model code there, we actually enable you to use 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So depending on where you are in the office or in the home application, it can actually use the one that is the strongest or the best for that specific area. So it's got the built-in power amplifier as well. So it gives you a stronger signal strength. You can see there at the bottom, 18 dBi signal strength. So once again, a little bit stronger than your standard units that are currently out in the field. So there's a good example of the penetration that we can offer. So in most applications, especially for home or small businesses, you obviously have walls. and the walls will generally make the signal not travel as far. So with our 5 dBi high gain omnidirectional antennas, you actually are able to penetrate the walls much better. So you can actually see example there. So even with 3 walls in between, we can still cover 120 square meters office or building size, which is quite large. And that'll give you a much better wireless connection. Okay, then we'll also have the option on our wireless routers to manage them from our HIK Connect application. Most of you will be familiar with our HIK Connect app. So now you can actually add your router to your HIK Connect, and you can manage specific functions. So the typical functions that you will have is a system configuration, which means you can set up your Wi-Fi parameters. You can remotely restart it. You can factory reset, and there's a couple of other options as well. The same with checking the status. So you can just check the signal strength. You can see the network traffic, or just the real-time speed that is going on that you are using currently on your network. Also the Wi-Fi speed up, so you can analyze the signal interferences and maybe channel then change the channel. So that obviously will optimize the speed of your Wi-Fi. And then we'll also have the security checkup part, all done through our HIK Connect application. Okay, then we also have the network switch part. So we're going to look at the product family and then just a couple of our switches, typically for our small office and home office applications. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is our plastic casing. So you can see on the left-hand side, normal plastic casing obviously keeps the costs down, but it's still full gigabit ports. So on all of those ports, you will have gigabit available, which is quite nice. So for the price, still have gigabit, a very popular switches that we have. Then we've got the metal casing options. So the two on the right hand side, the one obviously just giving you 100 megabits per second per port, and you can actually see the different ports there, 5 port, 8 port, or even 16 ports. And then on the right hand side, once again the metal casing, but now with full gigabit ports on all of them. So even up to 24 ports available for the full gigabit ports. All of these are unmanaged switches. As I mentioned, it's more for your small and home offices. So we do have other switches available for your larger projects, and you might be familiar with them already for our cameras with PoE, etc. But for this webinar, once again, we're focusing on our small office and home office type of devices. So these are the typical ones that will comply with the requirements for those. Okay, there's an example of the unmanaged 100 megabits per second switch. This is with the metal casing. So you can see a rugged metal case, just gives it a strong heat dissipation. So it doesn't get as hot. Components last longer. It's a plug and play unit because it's unmanaged. You just plug your network cables in and you are then on the network. So comes in options of 5 port, 8 port, and 16 port, and you can actually see the picture on the left hand side and then the corresponding model code on the right hand side. So if you're interested to get pricing, those are the typical switches that you might use if you were looking at a rugged metal switch. Then you've got the 100 megabit per second easy connection. You can also see they're suitable for offices, for stores. You can connect your IP camera. So if your IP camera has got power already, maybe with 12 volts as an example, once again, you can still use these switches for your IP cameras, for PCs, printers, and other applications. So there's so many uses that you can use it for. All right, and that is it, guys. So that's a very quick introduction to our SOHO range of products. As I mentioned, SOHO is for small office and home office applications. So you saw our products that are typically then used for small offices and home offices. There will be coming many more. So we will keep expanding our range on these. But I think a good example of using webcams or speakers, monitors and switches and all of those things for your small office and home office applications. Right, so thank you for your time, guys. That is it for today's webinar. It was a quite nice, quick and easy one. So we hope to see you guys next week again for the next one. If there are any questions, you're welcome to ask them in the chat box or the Q&A part, and I'll handle it. So I'll be online for another 5 minutes or so. And yes, thank you again for joining, and then we'll see you guys next week.